During the height of the Vietnam War, there was a prison camp known as Hell. U.S. Navy officer James Stockdale had to endure 8 long years there. When the war ended and he miraculously returned alive, people asked him, "Admiral, what was the secret to surviving in that hell until the end?" And they asked an even more important question. Conversely, who were the ones who couldn't endure and died? Stockdale's answer was shocking. The Optimists. They were the ones who died first. We are often taught to believe in the power of positivity. It will be fine. Have hope. But Stockdale says otherwise. In extreme situations, vague hope is not salvation, but torture. Today, we will look into the brutal truth of how hope destroys a person and what cold reality perception truly means for survival. September 9th, 1965. The fighter jet flown by Commander Stockdale was shot down. He attempted an emergency ejection, but the price was severe. His back was broken and his knee joint was shattered. Hanging from the parachute lines, descending into enemy territory, he whispered to himself amidst the pain, "I'm leaving the world of technology and entering the world of Epictetus." He intuitively knew what was about to happen was not a battle of the body, but a battle of the mind. He was taken to Hoa Lo prison, ironically called the Hanoi Hilton, a concrete solitary cell barely a meter wide. His feet were shackled, and he had to spend 4 years alone in that windowless place. The enemy inflicted brutal torture to break him. The rope torture, tying arms behind the back and hoisting him to the ceiling, tore apart his already damaged shoulders. But even harder to endure was the enemy's attempt to use him as a propaganda tool. One day, the North Vietnamese forced him to stand before a camera and testify falsely that U.S. troops are receiving humane treatment. Stockdale had to choose: lie for a comfortable life or choose hell. He found a razor blade in the bathroom and began to slash his scalp. Blood covered his face. When the enemy tried to cover the wounds with a hat, he picked up a wooden stool and smashed his own face, a swollen and bruised face. He chose to become a monster himself. It was a desperate declaration. You may have my body, but you cannot have my soul. What kept them from going insane in this isolated hell? It was solidarity. In a prison where speaking was forbidden, the prisoners created the tap code, conversing by tapping on the walls. They arranged the alphabet in 5 rows and 5 columns, expressing the position of rows and columns with tapping sounds. With this code, they shared enemy movements and identified who was being dragged away for torture. But the tap code meant more than exchanging information. When Stockdale was thrown into solitary confinement, covered in blood after torture, he heard tapping from the next cell. G, B, U. God bless you. That short vibration reminded him that he was not alone, that his comrades were still by his side. Every night, goodnight greetings rang out from every wall in the camp. They could endure because they were connected by an invisible thread. Let's go back to the original question. Why did the Optimists die? They said, "We'll be out by Christmas." As Christmas approached, they were filled with expectation and dopamine surged. But Christmas came and just went. Then we'll be out by Easter. Easter passed too. Thanksgiving then. Every time expectation collapsed repeatedly, their hearts shattered. Disappointment turned into despair. Despair into helplessness, eventually eating away at their vitality. They died falling into a condition medically known as broken heart syndrome. Stockdale, on the other hand, was different. He thought like this: we won't get out this Christmas. We might not get out next year either. This hell will last a very long time. He did not avoid the brutal facts, but confronted them. But at the same time, there was something he never let go of. However, I will prevail in the end. I will turn this experience into the defining event of my life. This is the Stockdale Paradox. Faith that you will prevail in the end, and the discipline to confront the most brutal facts of your current reality. Holding these two contradictory ideas simultaneously, that was the key to survival. This principle is proven elsewhere in history. Look at the duel between 2 men heading for the South Pole, the coldest place on Earth, in 1911. Roald Amundsen and Robert Scott. Amundsen was a thorough, pessimistic realist. He made a brutal plan to use dog meat for food if the dogs died, and soldered the lids of fuel cans shut in case they leak. He always assumed the worst-case scenario. Scott, on the other hand, was an optimist. He took ponies and motor sledges unsuited for Antarctica and believed the weather will help. The result was tragic. The motors broke down and the horses froze to death. Above all, the fuel evaporated through gaps in the cans, making it impossible to boil water on the return trip. While Amundsen returned with everyone alive, Scott and his team died of starvation and cold inside their tent, just 18 kilometers away from their supply depot. Vague positivity drove them to death. There might be a moment in your life right now that feels like the Hanoi Hilton. Endless job hunting, a collapsing business, or a long battle with illness. At times like this, The world tells you to think positively. It comforts you, saying everything will be fine. But Stockdale warned, such sweet comfort can be poison. What you need right now is not baseless hope. Confront the reality in front of you, coldly. Admit, I'm struggling right now. This pain will last a long time. But never let go of the faith deep in your heart, the belief in yourself. Nevertheless, I will prevail in the end. That cold sense of reality, enduring just for today, will make you the greatest victor in the future. Do not be optimistic. Instead, prepare and endure.